TikTok is sin. TikTok is the devil. TikTok is the gateway to hell. Maybe I can help make this clear for you. If you have a child in your home that's of any age and you allow them to have TikTok, then you are an irresponsible parent. If you have a TikTok account that you view, then you are an evil human being. I will give one caveat to this. When someone opens their TikTok account, it is going to feed them a variety of videos. It's going to feed you all kind of videos. And so it is actually possible to get on TikTok and only view a certain parameter of videos and really stay away from some of the underbelly of TikTok. Even though I don't even believe that's possible, I think TikTok will still feed you the underbelly videos because of how popular they are. But maybe you pass by them a lot, and so it kind of cleans up the algorithm for you. But in the underbelly, there is such evil transpiring that it's even hard to fathom. And as a Christian, you just can't have anything to do with that. So let's just talk about one category in particular, and that is teenagers engaging in the challenges. Now, personally, I have, for several years, I've heard about these challenges, and I keep scratching my head, and I was like, man, how did these teens just do these stupid, odd challenges? And I guess one of the first things that came to my awareness was the Tide Pod Challenge. And I was like, well, why are these teens just engaging in this awful activity? Why are they engaging in these dangerous activities? And now, because I have thought upon it a lot and because I have gotten this new information on this, I can guarantee you what is happening. We have, as a culture, we have super bored ourselves to death. We have done everything we could want to do. We have watched 28 TV shows in a row. We have played gaming for 11 and 12 and 24 hours straight. We have ordered every contraption that we could possibly think of that can make us feel happy. We have watched endless hours of this and endless hours of that. We have chased every kind of fantasy under the sun, and what is left? Now, in these challenges, one of the things that you've got to actually be aware of is that, number one, these challenges most often are directly connected to a sexual challenge. Now, I know for the female, this might be very hard to understand. They might not understand that these challenges like that what does that have to do with sexuality? Well, in the mind of the female, it might not have anything to do with sexuality, but to the subversive male, to the crafty male, to the controlling and witty male, he's like, oh, well, let's get them to do this challenge. And so I'm going to watch that and indulge myself in sexual fantasy. Now, some of this can absolutely be seen. If you just pay attention at all, you are like, oh, that has direct sexual implications. And it's easy to spot. But a lot of people don't see that because maybe they're scrolling past it and they don't want to think about it. But number one, it is clearly there that some of these are overtly sexual in nature. And what's really disturbing about this is not just that it's including females, but it's also including the underaged female. And that's why I say you're an irresponsible parent if you let your child on there, and we'll get to why here in a second. But with these challenges, some of these challenges are not sexual. Okay, so some people viewing this, maybe some adults that, aren't in the underbelly and have never been in the underbelly of pornography, might think, well, no, these challenges aren't sexual at all. They're just, painful, or if you keep looking, they are actually degrading. They are degrading to the honor and dignity of anybody created in the image of God. They are created as degrading on purpose. Now, I want you to take with me this idea for a second. Let's say someone walks up to you and they say, I want you to lick my boots. What sort of prideful, egocentric, power-tripping journey is that individual on that they want you to lick their boots? And I'm talking about a physical face-to-face exchange where somebody would walk up to you. Like, what kind of person would actually expect that from you? And not only that, I want you to lick the bottom of my boots. Well, you're going to lick everywhere I've been today and for the last 6 months. You're going to do that. Well, there's degrading in that. And there are people that siphon off the joy of having power over another human being. Now, if you begin to tie sexuality into that, it always goes hand in hand. Raw, evil sexuality gets into degradation, and very quickly, which takes us into the next point. It absolutely dives into pain. And this is the connection that maybe some people are too stupid to see. But if you are asking young girls or girls in general, I want you to perform this activity that is, painful, like, eat some battery acid. There is something in that someone is drinking off of on the other end of this. And do we really want to have our children involved in such? Well, so if you don't understand the pain and torture connection, maybe you just haven't been alive for more than 20 years. But even at that, we're exposing our children to this so openly, like it's everywhere. So with this, let's go back to the performers for a second. Why would young girls do this at all? Well, number one, since our family units are beginning to break down, some of these girls just want attention. They just have to have attention. Their dads are not giving them any attention. Their parents aren't even giving them attention because they're stuck on their devices doing whatever, or they're stuck at work or pursuing this, or they just don't care about family values. And so this child is starving for attention. And, oh, you want me to stuff pennies up my nose? Well, I can do that as long as, you'll tell me I'm great and that you like seeing it, etc. And there is no way that these children aren't barraged with evil thinking. So as these people are doing their little TikTok videos on the screen, these texts are sliding up and sliding by, and they're asking for things. And if you don't think that wicked people in anonymous places don't ask the children on the other end to do awful things, then you're not paying attention. You're just not watching this. And so this feed is coming through, and all of a sudden, these evil suggestions begin to pop up. And you've got to understand, this is a perfect place for the worst minds on the planet to gather. Are you going to let your daughter sit and perform weird acts in front of a 21-year-old man and a 35-year-old man and a 65-year-old man, and also they can find some pleasure in that? And this is happening quite often. And on top of this, now TikTok is allowing people to get paid. Like, as long as the crowd that is following you is, giving you, I don't know what all the things are, but like stickers and whatnot, then it boosts the account. And so now we're actually paying for performance. And I don't even have to get into nor describe the sexual things that are being requested. But to give you, to help you understand how massive this is, and maybe I misunderstood the chart, but if I understand right, like 15 million accounts were deleted in a month off of TikTok for this inappropriate behavior. Now, maybe it was a year, but I think it was a month. So 15 million accounts deleted. We'll just stick with 15 million accounts deleted. How many girls out there have a TikTok account? Like, do you know what the population is? Are you good with math, or do you know Common Core math? Like, maybe we need to relearn math, but like, if you take the teens out of our society, which are actually pretty small in comparison right now because, we don't want large families, and there might be 50 million teens in America. I highly doubt that. If you cut that in half, that's like 25 million teens. And then we've had 15 million accounts deleted. Now, I know every teen doesn't have a TikTok account. And I know that if somebody's account got deleted and they were making money for it, maybe they open another. But you need to understand that if TikTok, in any fashion, is trying to shut down some of this, and they have closed down 15 million accounts in a short amount of time, then also how many accounts then are open? And then if you multiply that times how many viewers there are, scores and maybe hundreds and maybe thousands on certain videos, times 15 million accounts that are closed versus how many are open versus how many are reopened. There are a lot of sick people out there that are soaking up and ingesting this and are becoming more and more depraved with their ask and what they are expecting and what they want to see out of the youth in our culture. Not to mention how many men or boys or kids are going to stumble across this highly popular underbelly algorithm just because it has to test. Like the TikTok algorithm is going to test and send out this TikTok live video performance at times, and it's going to just push these things out there just to see if anybody else wants a taste. Let me tell you where this is taking us so that you can get angry about it. Here's the future problems that are coming your direction from this behavior. There is going to be an increase in emotion, in the emotional animal of human behavior. Okay, I said that really strange. There's going to be a decrease of emotions here in America and around the world, actually. But there's going to be a decrease in sympathy for other human beings because we are mind-numbing ourselves for the things that we ask for and the things that we watch and the things that we associate and the things that we indulge in, to where we are not going to be sympathetic towards other human beings. So number one, you're not going to get help or extension or kindness at all. Nobody is going to go out of their way to help you in the smallest of things anymore. Like you're going to go to the store and you're like, I got some fries, but I want some ketchup. And I'm like, Nobody's going to care if you have ketchup. I know that's small, but I want you to understand the way this is going to begin to affect things. And then you're going to go to a store and like, I can't find the soap. What aisle is that on? And nobody is going to care to tell you because there's just going to be a lack of kindness across the country because we are calloused to one another because of the things that we expect from each other and we're watching in each other and how we treat each other online. Now, with this, there's also going to be unkind behavior that fills in the gaps. People are going to become a little more distant towards each other. And they're going to be measuring each other by, what can you do for me type of attitude. Well, let's go to the next step. There's also going to be an increase in pedophilic behavior. As if it's not already a problem, as if Epstein's Island isn't enough, as if the elites aren't getting any kind of punishment for the things they're doing, you're going to see an increase in the pedophiles in our culture. Is this what you're hoping for, that you want, that you will allow? You're going to see this increase. Now, as I mentioned, that sexuality with pornography has a pain element to it, then you're also going to understand, you've got to understand this, there's going to be an increase in rapes and murders and missing girls. Because if you continue to feed this sinful nature of these men all across the country in private dark corners, they're eventually going to be lashing out. Even in my community, even here in my area within 20 miles of where I'm standing, 3 girls have disappeared in the last month. This is going to become the norm unless we begin to do something about this. There's also going to be a higher tolerance of misconduct. You need to grasp this. So if a teacher at a school sees the principal inappropriately touch a girl, instead of him jumping in and say, hey, no, we can't do that, because of his TikTok exposure, he's going, I wonder what I can get away with. Instead of standing up for the rights of this girl or helping to be a witness against, or actually maybe physically asserting some kind of dominance over this guy. No, we're gonna see a higher and higher cases of misconduct. In case you're out of the loop, in Japan, groping is such a problem that it's not even prosecuted anymore. Yeah, sexuality is just such a part of their culture that the females, like, they complain, I was groped. And people are like, oh, that's too bad. We'll write a report. I don't even know if they're writing reports at this point, but like for someone to grope you on the elevator or in the subway or in a taxi or at the shopping mall and just walk away and get away with it is prevalent. Do you want this coming to our culture? Is this the way we want to live? You should begin to get very angry about this. With all of this, with this pandering to the sinful human nature, how in the world are our girls and boys going to grow up looking at each other? And this is something to really ponder. If you understand statistics and reality, a human being only knows so many other human beings. Like you basically got an inner circle of 12 to 16 friends, and then you've got 50 acquaintances or so that you interact with on a pretty regular basis. And then you got about 150 people maybe you know by name. But as these levels increase, you really don't know a whole lot of people. You might know 200 or 300 people kind of well, doubtful, very doubtful. You should map this out of how few people you know, okay? So let's say young teen girls or preteen girls even, they only know 50 men in their life. But online, on their TikTok account, they get exposed to thousands of depraved men. What do you think their view is going to be of marriage and matrimony and culture and of the male species in general when they grow up? Well, on the flip side of that, let's say these self-indulging boys are watching all this raunchy, awful material. What are they going to think about girls as they grow up? Like maybe they know 50 women in their life, that they kind of give some kind of understanding of reality. But online they have met thousands and thousands and thousands of females that'll just do anything for them. What do you think they're going to expect out of any kind of relationship? It will always be a taking type of activity. They're like, oh, well, you should be doing for me. I mean, that's what the internet always taught me, is that you do for me, you do for me, you do for me. And that being the case, I don't know anything about giving. I don't know anything about commitment. I don't know anything about loyalty. I don't know anything about relationship building. I just know about being pleasured. You've got to understand that if we allow this TikTok-esque type of lifestyle to continue in our culture, there are going to be less and less families. Now, maybe you don't think that's a big deal, but do you know what one of the major driving economic factor in our country is? The family. Who are the wealthiest people? The families. Families. Do the research. Families provide frugality. Let's say the family is trying to exist. They're like, well, for us to exist, we need to be frugal and careful. And we also need to take less risk with our resource. There is risk management going on. And they also have a commitment to work because they want to bring home funding to keep their small social circle functioning. we want this to continue in its productivity. And also families have goals. Little families, we want to eventually buy a home. That is our goal. And we want to have this many children as a functioning unit, and that is our goal. And we want to buy land. That is our goal. And we want to build a family business as our goal. There is an ideological structure that it helps us have a continuity and a continuance of society. That's one reason family is a building block to society. Now, if you take the ideology of the goals of family and you begin to take that away, and see, goals of family too is to raise children so that they eventually have careers or eventually can build a home of their own. There's an ideology here. But if you replace the ideology with sensationism, I don't know how to express that, but when somebody is always pleasuring themselves by what they see online and only sucking up whatever the next content is that will help them feel something. Instead of having an ideological focus on life, now they have just a sensationalized view of life. And they're only going to be chasing the next emotion or the next feel. And there is no thought pattern that helps them have any kind of concept or goal for life. And eventually you're going to see the breakdown of culture. In fact, we're already seeing this. I recently saw a retail store around me that made a hiring decision change. And let's just say that the person that was hired, the manager, was very loose with their screening, and they hired a whole bunch of people from this TikTok generation. And now the store cannot be stocked. You cannot get help there. It looks like the store is on the verge of collapsing. And that's just to be expected if you get rid of values. Now, as a Christian, what can you do? Well, number one, you need to fight evil. You need to begin to speak up about this. You need to be like the Karens, over the whole mask situation. You need to be like when somebody says they have a TikTok account, or I saw this on TikTok, or see this TikTok video, and it's like, you need to get rid of that right now. You're like, what? Like, no. Like, well, yeah, do you understand what's going on here? The exploitation of children, the exploitation of sexuality, the pandering to pedophilia, the prostitution of children by paying them for activity, like heinous activities. You need to get rid of that, or otherwise you're the enemy. Like, we need to begin to stand up and say these things. You got to get rid of these TikTok accounts. Now, on top of that, the culture needs the truth of God's word. They need the starting point of forgiveness for sins, because they're in a black hole. And we need to begin to witness and share with them, hey, there is hope. If you get rid of that mess, if you will turn away from that mess and repent of your sin and turn to Jesus Christ and begin to become obedient to the values listed in the scripture, then there is hope for your life.